one over there. So my bad.
Let me tell you. You see, let me tell you why I love the universe, and I am a firm believer of the universe.
Okay.
Listen, I wanted to get on and talk to you for a very long time.
Is that right?
What do you rate me?
Is that what we're starting out with?
Yeah.
And on a scale from 1 to 10, you can't use 7. What would you rank yourself?
I always see people calling you, and you tell them, you ain't no such and such. You lying to yourself. You ain't this. So let's start it that way.
What have you seen of my content? Have you just seen like the clips?
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh wait. Now we can talk this way. Karen, you sit your ass down over there because I don't play that. And I mean, you're married now, right? Okay. Relationship is a skill set. It's different than dating in short term. We really want to talk that kind of stuff, and what successful people who are doing good in their professional life want to fail in their personal life. And in the Black community in particular, when we fail in our personal lives, we pay a huge penalty because so few of us get married. It's almost like we like to see people's marriages fall, but we need more of those things in order to build whatever we're going to be, because people may not like my method, but I want to see more Black men who want Black lives get. What's starting to happen more is actually we're starting to have more conversations about this. It ain't comfortable, but we're starting to see progress.
Well, let me ask you this just outright then. Why do successful Black men date outside of business?
More often than not, Black men want to be with Black women. We do marry. 85% of Black men are married to Black women. Black women. And that's the outcome we're getting. It ain't pretty. Sometimes it ain't pretty.
Can I say something real quick? Black women, can we stop talking about if these niggas want us or not? Like, can we just focus on us and we be successful, and then we go out there and we decide who the fuck we want? How many times should a man expect to have sex? What is, in your opinion, how many times should a woman give their man sex a week?
A week?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of the as often as he wants it. Bernie Mac said, I'm gonna come home and give you 50 strokes. You count them if you ain't got it, you ain't got time. Most dudes trying to walk around like they porn stars. Look at, man, get good at foreplay, eat some pussy, and you get on. Because we gonna have all that time. Shampoo dream. There's a lot that men don't understand about sexuality. Most guys, you ask them what the Kama Sutra is, they don't know what it is. They don't know anything about tantric sex. They don't even know that. You couldn't even show them the anatomy of the vagina, and they can understand parts. Women's sexuality is so misunderstood by men. So a lot of guys make comments about women and not knowing, and they make decisions based on women. And I say ultimately this: if you ain't getting married, what the fuck you care about a woman's body count and who she fucking? If you ain't gonna take ownership of it, and if it's yours, you need to learn what to do. If you're gonna just out here hooking up, you need to be. I would assume you would want to have a good sexual reputation. You want to be a dead leg or a weak fuck.
And for those of you guys who don't know, Kevin Samuels was recently on Nicki Minaj's show. Yes, all right, it was Nicki Minaj's show. All right, people. So I've seen a couple of people, around the, YouTube space are running around. Oh, he jumped on Kevin Samuels' live stream. Oh, Kevin Samuels, this is it. We're here. Listen. Although this does not take away from the fact that he is now validated mainstream. I mean, even in the interview, you clearly hear Nicki saying she's always wanted to get on and talk to him. All right, so maybe it's been a timing issue, may have been something else. But at some point, that conversation at least, or their path we're going to cross at some point. But it was not Kevin Samuels streams. Instead, if anything, Kevin Samuels went on to Nicki Minaj's live stream, and they had a pretty interesting conversation that went down. And we're gonna go ahead and break all of that down and more. All right, because there's a lot of noise right now in this space of what this might mean. A lot of certainly some ladies on the other side of the fence who are leaning in one direction on what this means, and then some guys on the other side of the fence who are also leaning in another direction on what this conversation means. All right, so we're gonna break all of that down and more. A lot of people were expecting different things, all right? So a lot of people, first of all, on both sides of the fence, which clearly exposes how toxic we all are right now, we're expecting these two guys to kind of go at it, right? So on one hand of the fence, we had ladies who were followers of Nicki Minaj, or women in the space who are not a big fan of Kevin Samuels, right? Who were expecting Nicki Minaj to basically go at Kevin Samuels, pretty much go at his throat, because we already know, like, what Nicki Minaj is on. She's ready to clap back at just about anybody, right? So that's what pretty much the other side of the fence, that's what they were expecting with Nicki Minaj. Is she gonna basically, hit Kevin Samuels if Kevin Samuels were to slip up? Like, what is the play here? What is gonna happen, right? No one really knows, all right? And then on the other side of the fence, a lot of the guys were like, hey, okay, Kevin Samuels, listen, you fucked up with Brittany Renner, all right? You could have gave it a jab. You could have gave it a right hook. You could have done something. But, okay. Now you got Nicki Minaj, all right? Nicki Minaj, this is your chance, all right? Show what you got. And let me tell y'all this. I'm sorry for most of y'all that were disappointed if you guys won the award, because even they themselves said it themselves. Listen, she admitted that. Like, some of y'all who were DMing her, trying to get her to go ahead and try to, come at him hard or come at him certain kind of way, it's just not going to work, all right? They actually want to have a valuable conversation, in which they did, all right? Now, the real question is, was anything learned out of it? And that is yet to be seen, and we will cover that too, because I think there's a lot of things that we really need to unpack here. So first things first, they kind of get into the whole, and we'll skip around here, but let's go ahead and get started. Kind of get into the whole rating thing, and a lot of people right off the bat were already kind of pissed off at Kevin Samuels for this. A lot of people were already pissed off at Kevin Samuels based off this rating, and we'll play this and go over it. Was he in the right for his assessment, or was he in the wrong for his assessment? Let's go ahead and take a look.
I'm old. We might need to get 911 over there. So.
Let me tell you. You see, let me tell you why I love the universe, and I am a firm believer of the universe.
Okay.
Listen, I wanted to get on and talk to you for a very long time.
There you go.
Right.
That's very right.
What we got?
So I want to know what you gotta, let's have this real talk. Because I know a lot of times when people will speak to you, it's like they trying to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you call somebody trying to be funny, yes, I feel if you call somebody trying to be funny, then don't be mad at what you get. If you call somebody that, and you're really trying to, sincerely ask questions or get information.
So I want to kind of pause it right there, because because here's the thing, a lot of women, here's the thing what we're going to break down, all right? Because this right here, I love this interview for so many different reasons, but here's the main thing I want to break down, because Nicki, right off the bat, she's basically saying, because she watches his show, and she knows that some of the women on the show, when they come on and try to deal with Kevin Samuels, a lot of them come on with intentions, right? A lot of them come up with intentions. And you guys can't say, hey, ladies, y'all can't say shit, because she's letting y'all know that right now. Nick, I'll run that shit back. We'll run it back, and y'all, we can play it. She knows that certain women, when they go on Kevin Samuels' show, they on some funny games. They know that. They already know they on that. So when y'all come at Kevin Samuels, and this is just being real, we're just being fair for a second, all right? When certain women come at Kevin Samuels, right, about his tone and his mannerisms and all these different things, and when he's letting y'all know he's redirecting the same energy the women are giving to him, this is what they're talking about, because some of the women like to pretend, oh no, hey, no, come on now, she was doing this, she was nice, she was this, right? But here's the thing, like guys like Kevin Samuels and even guys like myself, like we understand, especially when we've been around sales for too damn long, all right? We understand subtext, we understand subtlety, we understand when people are acting in indirect manners, all right? We understand the art of subtlety because we read a body language and we understand social cues. So when women come on there's certain things that they display that are underhanded that Kevin Samuels can pick up that can feel as a slight diss and can elevate the aggression or escalate the next and I won't say aggression, but escalate the next tier of the whatever shit that they escalate to, right? So women deliver that energy, and Nicki Minaj is calling that out, because a lot of times y'all be on some funny business when you get on the show. Now, that was not what we saw on this interview whatsoever. But one thing I wanted to crucially point out is that what she is saying is true. And a lot of y'all ladies know it. Y'all know when other ladies are playing games. Let's just be real. Y'all know when y'all playing games. Let's be real. Come on, ladies. Come on. And if we know it's not all of y'all, but all of y'all, because y'all been around each other so much, you know when your sis playing games. You know when she on there with an agenda. You know. So Nicki's pointing that out, and to be fair, we're going to point that out too. So let's go ahead and continue.
What are we talking about?
Well, what do you rate me?
Is that what do you think the men rate women?
No, I thought, because isn't that what you do?
What have you seen of my content? Have you just seen like the clips?
Yeah. I think I always see people calling you and you tell them, you ain't no such and such. You lying to yourself. You ain't this.
What I typically don't do is I don't typically rank people. I ask if they rank themselves. I usually ask these questions.
So let's start it that way.
Yeah. How tall are you?
I'm 5'3".
Dress size?
My dress size?
Mm-hmm.
Bender Don said, my dress size. That's a good question. I guess a 4.
All right. And on a scale from 1 to 10, you can't use 7. What would you rank yourself? Fresh face out of the shower, just you.
Yeah.
That's how I always ask the question.
7.
Can't use 7. It's like 7 is the most common answer.
Really?
It's the default answer for most people because they don't want to go too high, they don't want to go too low.
Well, no, it ain't a default answer for me.
Well, let's see. I'll give you a 9. I will give you 9 because
let's let's put a pause right here because this set a lot of people's heads on fire.
You have the facial symmetry, and you get additional points for eyes, full lips. See, it's not. I'm an actual image consultant. And I'm sure you deal with a lot of people who take your pictures and stuff and so forth. You have a symmetrical face. And so it's much more based upon facial symmetry. It's not based on European beauty standards or anything like that. It's much more based upon what babies, animals, human beings have evolved to find attractive.
Wow.
You get additional points because we've evolved to find more slanted eyes, somewhat attractive, especially when they're not on Asian.
Listen, man, I don't know anything about Fibonacci's and facial symmetries and anything like that. Listen, I like what I like.
Wow.
But that's not what gets translated. Most of the time, people take my clips and cut it down to something that's gonna make a viral moment. It's gonna start a conversation. Take the good with the bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Have you seen anything else that I do?
I saw one time when you checked this lady for, I guess it was a white lady or a Hispanic lady, and you was like, oh, you're not gonna come on this show and talk down on Black women. That's what the fuck you're not gonna do. Yeah. And so again, that was a clip. I didn't see the context really, but
well, I get a rap of hating Black women, and it's far from that. I mean, there are over 50 Black women who report that they've gotten married as a result of watching my content.
Really?
It's on my Instagram. I actually had a young sister just post up saying, "Hey, as a result of you, I snatched your ring." I just actually posted a brother who was about to move to the Dominican Republic, and he found his wife in my Facebook group. Like 12 couples have gotten married in there. But that stuff doesn't get publicized.
Mm.
But when I'm talking about relationships, I'm talking about men and women, but because I'm Black, I'm talking about us. And at the time, I would bring stuff in, and then a lot of times sisters would say, well, men, when they get to a certain level, they only want white women or this or that. So I let women from other races come in. I'm like, okay, well, can you learn anything from them? What would you teach them? And the one woman came in, and she thought she was going to do what I did to Black women. Like, hold on, oh wait. Now, we can talk this way. Karen, you sit your ass down over there. Because I don't play that. I wouldn't let, despite popular opinion, I love my mother, I love my daughter, but we do have to have a family conversation.
I'm going to just say this. Although he's right and he has put white women in his place, and I think part of it, I don't know if I publicly criticize him. I may have privately criticized him on this, but I criticize him on that because it's like, are you purposely putting this woman in her place because you're trying to appease Black women? Because if that's the case, then we got a problem. Because I'm gonna tell you this: I can tell you a few female-led podcasts, platforms that willingly have white people that have come on their platform as Black women and literally let that white man shit all over their Black men, and all the Black women are clapping, cheering. Meanwhile, if Kevin Samuels had a white woman on his platform saying the exact same shit some of this dudes that these women support back here, I'm gonna call y'all motherfuckers out. It's not over. It's not over. We digging, baby. We digging. If he would have had a white woman say the exact same thing, you know what would have happened? Canceled instantly. They would have got rid of him. They would have got rid of him like that. So I'm just saying, as we're doing this, let's pay attention to the double standards here.
And what's starting to happen more is actually we're starting to have more conversations about this. It ain't comfortable, but we're starting to see progress.
Well, let me ask you this just outright then. Why do successful Black men date outside of the race?
Well, I would say this. When I look at men, I split them up. Guys that I consider to be in the industry, music, entertainment, athletics, and the guys on the business side. Business side, because I come from that side. But more often than not, Black men want to be with Black women. 85% of Black men are married to Black women.
Oh.
When I have my guys come to me, even after they got themselves together, like Dennis Furley, the guy who just moved, he found his Black wife in my group. Black men want to be with them. The problem is, let's be honest, in my lifetime, we weren't really raised to learn how to get along with one another. We can kick it, we can hook up, but can we work together long term? And you're married now, right? Okay, relationship is a skill set. It's different than dating in short term. We really want to talk that kind of stuff. And what successful people who are doing good in their professional life want to fail in their personal life. And in the Black community in particular, when we fail in our personal lives, we pay a huge penalty because so few of us get married. It's almost like we like to see people's marriages fall, but we need more of those things in order to build whatever we're going to be, because people may not like my method, but I want to see more Black men who want Black wives get with Black women. And that's the outcome we're getting. It ain't pretty. Sometimes it ain't pretty.
Can I say something real quick? Black women, can we stop talking about if these niggas want us or not?
You know what? I think the more conversations that we have, then we more let this go on. I think Nicki, she's calling out a few things, right? And when we're talking about and what she's about to go into, I want a few of you ladies on YouTube to pay attention, all right? Not y'all over here in the chat. I'm talking about some of y'all crazy ones that think racist dudes coming on here and shitting on Black men is okay, it's cool, everything is great. I'm talking to y'all. Y'all need to pay attention because this next segment is about y'all. Like, the main ones complaining about where Black men are going are Black women on TikTok and social media. These toxic ones over here, all right? Not saying that doesn't exist in the Manosphere, but let's be real. The Manosphere is not even mainstream yet, all right? To the extent. Like Kevin Samuels, what he's doing right now is getting on its way, and the whole conversation now it's being heard, it's being had, right? But ultimately, it's mainly some of these ladies who are frustrated on the internet that are out here talking about this stuff. Oh, this is why men are this. All men ain't this. All men are that. We've seen it. We've all seen it. So she's calling this shit out right now because she knows it. Just like she was calling out the truth about black women, and when they call into the show, some of them be on some funny business. Not all of them. And we see countless examples of black women that go on Kevin Samuel shows and they actually have a fruitful conversations. Then we see some of them that come in with agendas, and we see how that plays out. Like I said, he's a people. All right, so he understands when somebody's on some funny shit, right? So he gets that. Nicki gets that. So she's dropping some more shit there. Now, I don't know if she has much of opinion on what's going on here, and I hope she elaborates a little bit more on what her thought process is, but she's more or less just kind of questioning Kevin Samuels back and forth. But let's go ahead and see what her opinion is on women on social media complaining about their men.
I'm talking to black women real quick. Can we stop posting all day on TikTok? Because I newly went to TikTok and I just kept seeing this. Black women, can we stop talking about if these successful black men want us or not? Like, can we just focus on us and we be successful, and then we go out there and we decide who the fuck we want? Because what I've been seeing is, I feel like I've been seeing men using that as an opportunity because they've been hurt and somebody done and they've been using it as a way to come out and lash out and poke fun at black women and use it as a way to feel like.
Listen, brand new respect for Nicki. I can't believe I'm saying this in 2022. If somebody would have came to me in 2022 and said, "Hey, dude, watch, you're gonna be giving Nicki Minaj credit for being an adult," I wouldn't believe it. If somebody came to me and said, "I will be giving Nicki Minaj credit right now," I don't know what else to tell you. I wouldn't believe it myself. But she's right. She's right. This is what I talk about in this space too as well. A lot of times when we sit here complaining about women is because this is where it's coming from, right? A lot of women on TikTok, they're giving dudes the fuel to basically talk about this stuff, right? Especially these Manosphere dudes who are butthurt. She does have a point. Guys, you want to deny it all you want. You can't. Because the shit I rail against all the time. When we talk about women and the little mishaps and shit that they're doing on TikTok and all these TikTok, think about it. All these reaction videos about women on TikToks in the Manosphere. Y'all can sit here and tell me it's not happening. We've done a couple over here too myself because it does get ridiculous. But there are people who build their entire platform or podcast off of just reacting to a modern women or black women on TikTok and making fucking money and views off of it. Why? Because women who aren't smart enough to understand that you are just giving these guys fuel to basically keep talking about you. And not only that, even worse, a lot of them are using that to basically stay in the same state and not grow. So she's right, but she's coming into the other side, because when I talk about this, I'm talking about it from the guy's perspective, but she's dropping it from the women's perspective. Y'all need to stop posting this shit because you are giving guys more reasons to talk about you. And I hate that shit, because the more guys in this space talk about y'all, the more they talk about women, black women, all this different stuff, the more power they're giving to y'all that they should be putting in themselves. And the more power y'all, if you guys are keep posting all this nonsense, you're giving to them. Instead of y'all should be putting in yourself and finding your own agency. This is what we've been talking about. And this is the type of conversation that we need to be having. I'm glad this went on. This is what we need to be talking about. This part of the conversation right here, in which that Nicki Minaj is bringing the other side unapologetically. And this is a mainstream black woman, or Afro-Latina, what some of y'all purists out there like to call it, right? This is a mainstream woman. All right, so she's mainstream in the black female culture, and she's letting y'all know the business. She's letting y'all know the game. She's letting y'all know the more y'all post this dumb shit, all this dumb post acting stupid, guess what? These butthurt dudes in these spaces, right, are gonna use that as fuel to basically perpetuate pain. This is what this is. So I'm glad that listen, man, 2022 for self-awareness, I'm glad this shit's going. I'm glad that this shit is starting to get to a point where people are starting to pay attention. Let's go ahead and continue.
Like they somebody or they something, or so for all you niggas that's doing that on TikTok, wherever the fuck y'all at, eat a dick, go away. Nobody gives a shit about you. And I want black women to stop fucking posting about whether or not y'all want black women or not. Okay? Well, I want black women just to focus on themselves, be successful, and then you go out there and you decide the trajectory of your life. Okay?
Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of hurt on both sides. a lot of, and especially in the Black community, we don't really do a lot of counseling, therapy. I recommend therapy often because we got a lot of stuff individually that we want to deal with. And marriage and relationships are not for everybody. And I'm just trying to, ultimately I ask people, what do you want? What do you want? And what are you prepared to do to get what you want? And are you willing to pay that cost? It's really the conversation. It always gets kind of whittled down. But at the end of the day, what we are seeing is, you know, especially if you're under 30, it's harder for guys today under 30 than it was from 50 years ago because you can't take care of a family on out of high school or just coming out. So they're at the bottom.
We have to stop this. Like this whole nonsense. It's harder for guys to date younger and all that. We have to stop this. We have to. We need to. Like this is not true. This is not true, and I'm not. It's not saying that Kevin Samuel is wrong. I think it's harder for guys because guys believe it's harder for them to date younger. I think it's because guys buy into the paradigm that it's harder for them to date younger, and the reason why, and he's about to allude to, is because they don't have enough money for a family. No, man, that's not true. That's not true. The reason why guys are finding it hard right now to date younger because a lot of dudes are awkward. A lot of dudes lack social skills. A lot of dudes didn't have fathers in the home coming up to teach them how to be a man. So when they go out to the real world, they get overlooked by women. It's not because they don't have money. Girls don't even look at money like that. We're taking care of a household. Like, I don't think this when we're saying stuff like that, this is where we miss the point. All right? When I keep saying we're in a new day and age, we're not going back to that box. Pandora's box has already been opened. Everything's flying out. We're not flying back in. All right? Women are not going to be wanting to be sitting there. I mean, a lot of them, they will say that, right? They want a man to take care of all these different things while being independent. But that's internet women. That's boss babe wannabes. The vast majority of average women, what they want is, hey, listen, I'd be cool making $35K a year if you're cool making about 75 and, you know, you got benefits. Okay, cool. As long as you got benefits, let's make this shit work. That's literally it. And a lot of guys can do that. There are a lot of other people who can actually bring listen, man, I worked in banking. You know what I mean? 2-parent household. Now, you know what's funny? A lot of them were Asian and non-black, right? But a lot of 2-parent household that I did portfolios for, a lot of them, man, they were making average incomes. One was 75, the other one was 35. Or sometimes every once in a while you get one was 75, the other one was 200,000. Either way, these were two working professionals. They had a family and they made it work. They started from nothing. Met each other at work. And I'm talking about a particular couple. When we start feeding these ideas in the young men that you need to be able to provide or have enough money to provide to some people, you need to be able to do this in order for you to have the lifestyle that you need to have right now in terms of dealing with girls, it's the shit that makes more dudes resentful. Because a lot of dudes, they know right now that they ain't ready. And some of them, they don't even think they have it in them to go out in the world to take what's theirs.
And I just had men's week, and I told guys, look, while you're under 30, work on getting yourself together, because like it or not, you're really not in a position like you should be to be able to work with, lead, do anything like that. And you see the hurt on both sides, because a lot of times people will use these talking points to go at and poke women over here, but that's not what's going on right now. This year we're past the sound. We still laugh. We still do all that stuff. We're talking about self-awareness. And moving the needle. I'm in LA tomorrow talking with a famous sexologist, a womanist, feminist, to talk about things that that people on my side may not understand, to further open the conversation up. Because that's what we have to get to. We got to end up, for whoever want to be involved with whoever, we got to end up having a better conversation, because while we're separate, fighting, everybody else just eats off of us. That's really what it looks like. So. But,
okay, Kevin. Since we got to get down to the business chat.
Go ahead.
Now, do you think a man can have sex 3 times a night for the rest of his life?
Those guys can't.
They can't?
Not for the rest of his life,
Well, how many times they gonna be able to do it? How many times should a man expect to have? Hang
Hang on. This is when we talk about tact, all right, and how the difference between Kevin Samuels and when we talk about mainstream versus guys like Fresh and Fit, all right. This is where these we have a point, right? When we talk about tact and how Kevin Samuels knows how to maneuver situations and certain setups, this is where he shines at, and this is where, if anything else, right, this is where I think DJ Academics was wrong. I myself was wrong. If I stated in the past that Kevin Samuels wasn't mainstream or Manosphere wasn't mainstream, well, we're looking at it now. I'm gonna eat my own hat. It is what it is, right? But here's the thing. You got to understand the tactics in how you're going to win at mainstream. And like I told you guys before, at the end of this, I'm going to let y'all know how Kevin Samuels can actually thrive and maintain his virality while he's mainstream.
How many times should a man expect to have sex? What is, in your opinion, how many times should a woman give their man sex?
You saw how she rephrased that? Y'all saw that flip? How often should a man expect sex? How often should a woman be required to give her man sex? Right? So watch how Kevin Samuels answers it, because if you would have answered it the way she had framed it just now, with the woman being positioned in the position of having to give up something, which in the eyes of mainstream media, it looks bad. It looks horrible. Oh shit. Like, oh, I'm a woman now. I'm expected to give my man X amount of sex every once in a while. So I want y'all to pay attention to see how Kevin Samuels maneuvers around this question. And this is something that you guys can actually start learning for yourself in terms of how to deal with people and social conversations and maneuvering. So pay attention to this.
A week.
A week?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of the as often as he wants it.
No, hold on.
Because here's the thing, it's under.
Now, that was an interesting answer, right? And she probably wasn't expecting that. And it threw her off, right? It threw her off because she was probably expecting, okay, maybe 3 times a week, 4 times a week, or, 5 times a week, right? And any one of those numbers, imagine, right? Imagine the headlines on the Manosphere, right? Talking about, oh, Kevin Samuels says a woman's supposed to give her man sex 3 times a day or a week or 5 times a week. Right? And they would have spun that into something crazy, right? But the answer was as often as he wants it. So that also is a question that's up in the air and up to your interpretation, because as often as it wants it, it can be anywhere from 10 times a week, 20 times a week, or even 1 time a week. That's how that shit works. So when you're going into mainstream, this is the kind of tact and the social awareness, Myron Gaines, the conversational aptitude, Fresh Prince CEO, you need to have in order to not make the Manosphere look like a bunch of children to mainstream media. This is what I'm talking about. So this is why someone like Kevin Samuels could and would have a future in mainstream versus someone like Fresh and Fit, because someone like Fresh and Fit can go on some platform like the Flagrant 2 and still double down on their idiocy, making us look like a bunch of pining 5-year-olds. Thank you, Rolo. I wrote a goddamn article on this bullshit, Tomasi. If there's one person that at least gonna repair or at least make us look somewhat civilized than those 2 bozos made us look the last couple weeks, all right, I think that Kevin Samuels, in the way he performed here and how he performed with Brittany Renner, is going to be the next step. Now, for those of you guys who are standboys and are expecting Kevin Samuels to be as rude or as argumentative and as crazy as, that's not gonna happen, especially if he's pivoting mainstream. You guys can't be expecting that from him anymore. That shit's dead, all right? You can't be underground in the mainstream culture. You have to be able to dial it back. Kevin Samuels is gonna be a pretty much a suave version of Steve Harvey. Like, if Kevin Samuels can tailor his message to basically resemble a freaking, not a hardcore Steve Harvey, but a little mild, right? With a little spice in it, right? Throw a little spice in the tank, and that's Kevin Samuels right there. And he's gonna have to do that. Why? Because he can't be as crazy as he is with women. If you notice how he doesn't do the whole rate women thing anymore. You know how that was a while ago. That shit was cut off and done, right? Even when Nicki called him out on it, he was like, I don't really even do that. That's not really part of my show, right? Because how does that look? How does that look? Horrible. Like, oh, look at this black man telling other black women that they look ugly, right? And for a while, sisters made that a big talking point. Let's just be real. They made that a huge talking point, saying, oh, these women are coming up calling themselves ugly, and he's doing that. But he kind of stepped away from that. Why? Because this is where he knew he was going to head to. So from those of you guys out there, they're expecting some kind of war, expecting this kind of back and forth. It's just not going to happen. These are the kind of conversations we're looking for. These are the kind of conversations we need. And he's going to have to be a little bit more mild. It is what it is. But what you guys can understand what the intentions are, that's all that freaking matters. But let's continue. No, hold on. Before we continue, first of all, get the goddamn likes up.
Oh, hell no.
Get my goddamn likes up right now, people. Let's go. We giving y'all a show. All right. So, listen. I want to ask y'all a question. And I want y'all to be really freaking honest. All right. How would Fresh and Fit had handled that question that Nicki Minaj would have asked Kevin Samuels, right? Do you think that Fresh and Fit would have handled that question properly when Nicki Minaj asked them, hey, how often should a woman expect to give her man sex every week, right? How do you think Fresh and Fit would have answered that question? Put a 1 in the chat if you think that they would have completely folded and like bombed on it, right? They would have answered in a way that would have made us look bad. Or put a 2 in the chat if you think he would have answered just like Kevin Samuels. I'll wait. How would Fresh and Fit handle that question Nicki asked? Would it be 1, would they completely fold and break on that question? Or 2, would they handle it just like Kevin Samuels? I say they would fold. I'd say I don't even think Myron would be able to come up with that kind of tact. I don't think so. I'm not going to influence this. I'm going to let y'all answer. They would have folded. They would have folded. I'm sorry, they would have folded. Myron, listen, I'm judging it based off of Kevin Samuels' history and the mainstream appeal he's had, right? He's done work with Tasha K, he's done work with Joe Budden, he's done work with Adam 22, he's done work with DJ Vlad. In all those, there were no controversies in any of them. All right, the 2 podcasts these 2 niggas were on, bro. I'm telling you, Brittany Renner and the Flagrant 2 at the start of 2022, it was already controversies everywhere. Like, we couldn't stop. We were having a conversation 5 days into the new year if this podcast was gonna make it or not. That's how scary mainstream got when Fresh and Fit was holding the rope. Hey, y'all can't tell me I'm wrong because it got real scary for a second. The way all these people were talking, all right, and these academics came out with a fucking baton and Rollo Tomasi like, you fucking, how dare you call me a snake? That shit was funny. But listen, I don't think Fresh and Fit would have handled Nicki well. I really don't think so. So I think that if anything else, if we're talking about the Manosphere, if we're talking about mainstream now, because let's just be real. And I listen, for those of you guys who are still stuck in your ways and you aren't willing to change, that's y'all. All right. But I have changed my mind. Okay. Listen, people change their minds all the fucking time. It just means that they're able to grow and learn and adapt. For those of you guys that want to stay in your own space, go back to Fresh and Fit, let them know dukendon sent you. But I changed my mind. I definitely think that the Manosphere is going to have mainstream appeal. And this is the way that's going to happen. It's going to start, seeding in and bleeding in through the mainstream appeal this way. And I think if we keep this style of image, right, in the forefront and we kind of push that ahead instead of the raunchy, grimy, fucking, a Jerry Springer type, Rollo Tomasi or Rollo Pill type shit, I think we'll be fine. But if we keep that Fresh and Fit appeal, that's the thing that's going to put that nail in the coffin. They're not meant for mainstream. They're gonna listen. No bones against Fresh and Fit. They're gonna make it if they stay subculture. If they stay subculture, they have the platform to clean house in this space because that's just what this space is. It's filled with a bunch of people who are not as mature. It is what it is, right? Versus mainstream, you feel with more people who are in the real world, who watch TV and pay attention. So these guys are just not gonna fit. All right, they're like the weird kids on the block, and you stare at them and say, "Oh, you do those strange antics. Maybe I'll watch you for entertainment, but oh no, I'm not bringing you into my classrooms." That's why you got to tell your audience to put the headphones in when you're talking to them. Like when you're, I mean, that's weird. Why they gotta hide from you? It's so weird. So I definitely think that Fresh and Fit would have never, they would have never handled Nicki well. It was just now, it would have never been a good look. I mean, we saw what you did with Brittany Renner. That was decent, but it was not a good look.
Here's the thing. You look at, like I said, I look at guys, most guys I'm talking to are working 10, 12-hour days. Bernie Mac said it, I'm gonna come home and give you 50 strokes. You count them if you ain't got time. Most dudes trying to walk around like they porn stars. Look at, man, get good at foreplay, eat some pussy, and you get on. Because we don't have all that time. You get old, our back hurt, the hip moves out.
Oh no.
When you get older, but I mean, I think a healthy sex life 2 to 3 times a week is what most people are doing because they got kids.
Yes, no, I understand.
But when you're single, no kids, whenever you want to.
Yeah. Well,
She's like, I don't know about that.
no, I understand because yes, things change when you have to be looking at your baby and a lot of, I get it. I totally get it. But let me ask you something. Do men really want, because I was having this discussion 2 days ago, do men really want a woman to be all up under them? Oh, baby, hi, yeah, ooh, or do they just say they want that, and when they want that, and when they get it, they be like, because I feel like me being mean is what, yeah.
The late great Patrice O'Neal said it the best. We want you around, but not around. He made a comedy bit where he said, we want you in the house, kind of like around the corner in the vent somewhere. We kind of want you to be like a cat. You call a cat's name, hey, babe. Okay, you there, cool. We just want to.
And you know what? This is another interesting point that I found interesting throughout the whole interview, right? And this, by the way, isn't the whole interview, y'all. We'll cover the whole interview too, by the way. All right, and it wasn't between them and Kevin Samuels, but it was the whole other side after Kevin Samuels, so we can get a real thought process on how Nicki really feels about the situation. But when she's asking about that, right? Do guys really want girls up under them because she's been having this conversation with a friend and this is something they do? Well, a few things struck out to me, right? And one of those things is essentially that, hey, because we look up to, in this space, think about it, guys. We look up to famous people all the time, right? We look up to them and we use them as an example for certain points that we want to make in this manosphere space, right? We look at the rappers, and if we're trying to illustrate the difference between how they treat the women, because great value or not great value, right? And here's the thing. You have someone like Nicki Minaj, and she's saying that, hey, I have these type of conversations with my friend. Right? The same conversations that, all women are probably already having in private. You don't see these type of conversations online on social media, but they're having it in private. What does that tell you? A lot of women do have questions about how men really think, right? Even though it doesn't matter if you're famous, it doesn't matter if you're the average girl. These are the kind of questions that they're asking themselves, because they themselves, even though women look up to boss babes like Nicki Minaj doesn't know what's going on 100% of the time. This is why conversations like these are important, because these famous people that we look up to, they act like their lives are so goddamn perfect that everything's all shiny and rainbow, and no matter what happens in my breakups or get-togethers or whatever it is, I'm gonna be all right. It turns out that no, you're genuinely having these conversations because you're confused. A lot of women are. So if we can see, or at least have a situation where at least these famous women are actually in a position where they're vulnerable and they're talking about these real conversations like, hey, does a man really want me to be near him, underneath him? I want to know, because maybe I genuinely don't have the skills. Maybe I'm surrounded by friends that think like me, that say that I have to be mean, because that's what she said. She said, I feel like when I'm being mean, it gets the work across. No, you're just attracting guys who want that shit, who are attracted to that shit. Right? And to me, I think that's weakness. I don't want a girl who's mean. Like, why do I want a girl who's mean? Like, that's stupid. Right? But that's the kind of mentality a lot of these women have. We see that being replicated in even average women, where they walk around with the attitude, because they feel like if they walk around in the attitude, guys like that shit. We don't like that shit. But that's why these conversations need to be had. So Kevin Samuels explains, well, listen, it's not that, we don't want you around. It's just like a cat, maybe we want you sitting in the other room or anything like that. Even saying that kind of sounds cringe. just a smidge. All right. Just a smidge cringe. All right. Listen, if my woman, I'm going to tell you this. if I'm in the house and I'm working on something, and I don't want her just sitting around there. And if she ain't got, look, if she's doing something, that's fine. That's in the house, that's cool. But if she wants to go out and do whatever it is she needs, she can go out and do it. I would much rather not have you in the house. Like, so I don't know if you know, maybe some guys are like that, right? Where if your woman's not around, she's probably doing whatever. But it's like, to me, you got to be on go. Like, if you're not here, and that's assuming that she's not the mother of my kid. If she's the mother of my kid, that's a different story, right? But you know, if she's not, and she's a girlfriend, it's like, I'm not gonna be at home. So what the hell are you lounging about here? Get the fuck out! Like, move out. Let's do some stuff, right? So just having a girl in the corner, I think that's the old timey way of thinking. Again, Kevin Samuels comes from an old traditional way, right? Where, you know, the man's in the house and the woman's off in the corner doing something, but not bothering the rest of the house. You know, and some women, maybe they like that, they love that. I don't know. I prefer if you're my girlfriend or something like that, we're not seriously dating. If I'm working, I mean, unless you got something real important to do here, I mean, it's time to go.